No, please don't. Please let me do this. Please.
Okay. Do you still want the countdown, or do you want to do the intro?
I have started recording. See, this was
I
meant to be
felt it.
this was meant to be like a new beginning, you know, a fresh start of us being more concise, more tight conversations.
Yes, and as we have both proven, that is not the case. We don't change.
A
Just the video
rebirth.
formats do.
A rebirth of the workshop with different content and background music and ambiance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on here. So
Well,
this is on you, Harry.
Yeah. Well, it's fairly. It is self-explanatory, right, in a way. But I guess I should explain because it's brand new. So this is a new category of workshops, which sort of explains a little bit of how they're going to be from now on. A little bit more scattered. There'll be big sort of like periods of time where it's going to be like a certain type of thing a lot in a row, like support tools or something. But it's going to be a bit more scattered, and we'll have things like this dropped in throughout. Probably quite a few of these. Some perks, some other big thing.
Ooh, a big thing.
That's you, Tyler.
Ah,
That was your
all right. That's my cue. Yes.
Surely you should say this to the end, though.
Yes. Well, yeah. Not that won't be long because this video is concise, as the viewers will know by the time, and hopefully.
Yeah, by the time it's 20 minutes, 24 seconds.
Yeah, that's us going into it with a promise, and you'll know how that turned out.
Yeah. So this will be a video where I pitch mutators, a warning, and an anomaly. And well, actually, I want to go back on that. It's not a pitch; it's a presentation of two ideas from me to both of us, and then we decide whether or not they're good ideas. And possibly work. But I have offered a fair few compromises and sort of notations of things that might be like imbalanced about them and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's still interesting ideas that should be considered.
Yeah, and obviously, like usual in the workshops, the comments, you could also get involved, give your pros and cons of these things, like what you do and don't like about them. Although generally the comments are what they do like. Thank you for all those and the other ones.
But, actually, okay, before we start, thank you for getting us to 333 subscribers, because that's a third of the way to 1,000. Actually, we're at 334 now, which means we are like, because 333 technically isn't a third because it's 333.3 recurring. So we are officially there now.
There was a 0.3333 reoccurring person out there that could have done that. This is the best we're going to get.
Warwick Davis.
Yeah, I think he's too busy filming a new thing, isn't he?
Willow. I think he's already done that.
I guess so too.
You're not going to be surprised by what the warning is. You might not be able to like guess the name, but you will not be surprised.
All right.
Do you want to see it? Do you want to...
I think let's do it, Harry. The grand reveal.
The warning. High gravity. I've also offered a little, boots on the ground, but not by choice. Gravitational disruptions in this region have resulted in things feeling a little heavy. I've also offered hazard bonus, but that is variable. That is something that we
just
would discuss.
Arbitrary number, right?
No, I don't think so. I chose that, but that doesn't mean it will be right. So on a base level, what we're looking at is like, because obviously in game you don't get these kind of points. Like obviously with the overclock ones, that's like what you would see in game. But this I actually have more freedom because with the overclock, it's like, oh, I'll just write the bullet points and the description. But in this case, you're not going to see any of this anyway, so I can sort of just write what I want. Severely reduced jump height, and players' projectiles and objects all fall much faster or are much more affected by gravity. Now, I would like you for a moment to ignore the points that follow, and
I'm good at ignoring things.
Address the main body of this fella, in that it's just the opposite to low gravity, which would naturally be a warning, right? If that were to exist, it would be that's an obstacle,
something worth mentioning at like the very first episode of these, at least. Warnings are clearly detrimental to like the mission. Like they are supposed to hinder you negatively. Anomalies are something that you are supposed to like it's supposed to help you. Maybe not inherently. Maybe there are some issues with it.
Well,
but,
this one already. This anomaly is a little bit old.
all right, we'll get to that. But yeah, clearly this warning is a warning. It will screw with you and it will make you hate playing on that cave. It definitely feels like a low oxygen kind of thing, or well, not really a horror one, but just something that, like, when you're in the cave, you're not going to forget about it, right? It's going to be constantly like ticking you off, and like, changing how you play the game, because obviously, with reduced jump height, engineers platforms will be a pretty annoying way of moving around. Like it will,
yeah.
it will definitely change things quite a bit, with the players' projectiles. Projectiles, what is that? Like, if you shoot like a sludge pump, its arc is a lot stronger.
Yeah, makes you just fall out the gun.
that as well. That will be so it will change.
Remember, things will go further. Projectiles that are affected by gravity go further in low gravity.
Okay, so anything that's affected by low gravity will be also affected by high gravity. Then we're going off that logic.
Yes, I think. Well, for now, unless some of it just doesn't work, and to me, I much prefer the falling faster. It's like, do we need reduced jump height? If we don't account for the sort of the compromises that I listed below, it would be pretty horrible, right? And I do think the jump height is probably a lot of that. I don't. You'd feel like you falling faster. You'd feel that all the time as a hazard. You're much more likely to take fall damage if you're falling faster, and everything else falling faster, like projectiles and your grenades.
Yeah, and I the falling faster thing is interesting, because would it mean that like the threshold of taking fall damage would be a lot quicker? Because obviously it's not the actual distance. Yeah, but obviously that makes sense logically, but gameplay wise, that would feel pretty horrific.
That's what
because
it's about.
A tiny ledge would like break both of your knees in an instant, right? But you could make it be that you fall quicker, therefore it's harder to avoid the fall damage, if you know what I mean. Like, if you jump off a ledge as an engineer, you'd shoot the platform and then you'd be all right. But with high gravity, you fall quicker, therefore there ain't time to do that, right?
At the same time,
that kind of thing.
At the same time, disabled inertia inhibitor is the upgrade on the something like the platform gun, where it fires it like as fast. It matches your trajectory basically. So if you had that on, either way, you'd be able to get the platform out. So,
and in all fairness, in that regard, that would be like the only way you'd get a platform out, right? Because generally, I think the inertia inhibitor, whatever, that's not a thing that most people use. I don't think. I don't use it, and it seems to be the thing works fine anyway, right? So it might be something you would want to look into and actually use more in high gravity. I feel like the restrictions and like annoyances that that would provide would really change how you play the game or have to play the game, right?
Yeah, okay. So hold on. A note on the disabled inertia inhibitor, that's competing with repellent additive and ammo.
Yeah, so it's a pretty hard. I mean, ammo wins out most of the time for me, anyway, right? But it's just. Yeah, so this would actually at least make that feel a little bit more useful. I feel like. I suppose so. Yeah. Same with RJ250 compound, because that upgrade is on the grenade launcher as well. But it competes with like the direct, like the impact detonation one and proximity detonation. So it's like maybe, but at the same time, I don't think that's why I came up with this. I came up with this because it's a logical addition more than anything. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like obviously because we came up with this idea before this thing, obviously, right? Like we played around because it's a pretty simple one. Like there's a low gravity. What if there's high gravity? And I think I think Deep Rock, or I keep saying Deep Rock, Ghost Ship, if given this idea, they will tinker it to be annoying yet playable, like how they seem to. But I don't know. I think this is. I think it's a given, really. I think this would be a perfectly fine warning to add.
So when you say given, you mean like if they did a dump of normal shit?
warnings, then yeah,
Like, so how
I
would
think
you
high
theme high
gravity.
gravity around a season?
Well,
I mean,
no,
you could
yeah,
actually. You
exactly.
could actually. You know what? I can very easily envisage how you could. To be honest,
Yeah.
but like I said, there are some things that I address, some compromises that I like posit as potential changes that could be made. So, and this is in regards to low gravity's existence as an anomaly. Um, First option being that they could cancel each other out, as in if you had them both on the same mission, nothing would change. But obviously, that can't be the case because you get the hazard
as well.
bonus.
But,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's already out the window. um, yeah, it just is, I guess. But and then the second option is blacklisting the two from each other, meaning that you can't get them together. But which I'm sure is possible, but it would
I think that's likely.
it would be a weird exception, other than like instead of just finding a workaround.
Yeah.
But the only workarounds, instead of actually just changing the warning, which is the next point, the only workarounds are like changing like which one affects what parts. Where it's like, oh, okay, so if you have it on the same mission, you know, you can jump just as high as normal, but the projectiles are affected by high gravity. But you've got like low gravity jumping. But it's just like, would that be too weird?
That would be really weird.
Be
That
kinda
you're
cool.
flying around. Well, yeah, maybe if you get both. This is going to take it too far, but maybe if you get both, they combine, and they basically become erratic gravity or something like that. Where it just it's just random as hell.
Well, that's not too far off the next point, actually. This is sort of the extreme change I thought of, which also is partly to make the base warn. Like it says here, change high gravity to cause random affected areas, as in random areas of high gravity.
Yeah.
That would completely override low gravity, but also make the base warning less tumultuous. So it'd be like if you're on low gravity, everywhere is low gravity, yet the high gravity areas are full high gravity. There's no changes to them.
And this is also in a normal mission without low gravity. That would be how high gravity works. Select areas.
This isn't. This isn't like a workaround. This is just how high gravity would be to be probably better and also work with low gravity. But at the same time, it's like the areas in my head. It's like big like pillars, like zones, like the gravity pit. But I'm not sure if that's. Which I suppose in a way makes sense.
Pit.
But I'm not sure if that's right. I'm not sure if it should be like maybe it's entire rooms. I'm not sure. You know.
I think having like splotted like dotty pits of just immense gravity would be pretty interesting, especially if it ends up like coinciding with an objective and you're like, shit,
that's not bad.
I've got to do.
I like that.
I've got to do like the uplink in a high gravity zone. Oh god,
that
this
kind
is
of
be
thing
horrible.
should be possible because that's what makes the warning feel like an actual obstacle, but without it just completely tanking like the entire mission. Where it's like
I think
it potentially matches like the levels of annoyance of something like low oxygen or haunted cave, but I think in this done this way, it would become, you know, it would ride this line between being very engaging, but then also just being a very unpleasant surprise when you come across those areas. And you might just be fighting like really intense scenarios, or like backing up, or just running around trying to get away from the enemies, not necessarily thinking about where you're going to end up. And you end up in one of these zones, and suddenly everything's worse.
Yeah, plus then like the things I mentioned about how differently you would have to play the game since projectiles wouldn't work as well, platforms wouldn't work as well.
But that stuff interests
you can still,
me,
yeah, you can still it will still play into it, but it's not like engineers platforms won't be a complete waste of time and energy. Now they just might be in some places, right, and stuff like that. Plus, God, I can imagine
Fat Boy would just fall out the end of the connector.
You can use it, right? If you are not in the high gravity area and a bunch of glyphids are, you shoot the Fat Boy into the high gravity area and it just plummets straight down onto them like Max said.
You shoot it at the top of the area and it comes down like a mortar strike.
It just bombs it. Yeah, I think it definitely it could be fun and
Tyler,
has
let's
merit.
be honest. So, do you think something like do you think low oxygen has any potential for fun? I think Haunted Cave kind of does, even though I hate it. But low oxygen is in the game. It's annoying as shit. All right. And I know it's a weird thing to use as an excuse, but it's just like this isn't actually going to be more annoying than the ones that are on the worst end of it.
Yeah,
in-game.
obviously.
And I think this has fun potential and just interesting potential for like actually changing how you play.
With if it's everywhere all the time,
No,
I think it could get a bit low oxygen-y. But if it's like patches, maybe even varying sizes. Like you go from like meteorite radius to like uplink radius. Or or just like stuff like that.
That'd be the biggest one,
Yeah. Like it varies in sizes and numbers, and it could just really spice up a cave.
Did you just say varies?
I don't know what I say most of the time.
You said it varies in sizes. You don't say it varies.
Yeah, autocorrect didn't kick in. Okay. Point is,
I think you've got auto incorrect.
Yeah, I do. My brain actively incorrects things.
That's
point is, I think with the
incorrect.
But with the splotchy high gravity, I think that would be fun. And with the way that Ghost Ship is, they've been stepping up their. They don't just add a thing and then call it a day. All right, like how low gravity is. Low gravity is just low gravity on the mission.
It'd be visible.
Right?
It'd be like I don't know, but it'd be particles in the air. It'd be pretty clear.
Particles going like downwards, like pretty heavily, like visually, like things are just going down in an area, right? Like that kind of thing.
Maybe it's just wobbly.
Yeah.
Like a heat wave.
Point is I think this it's a pretty simple hell yeah. I see no reason why they wouldn't. They already mess around with these mechanics. Might as well just turn it into a warning and make it a bit more interesting.
So
with these swatches.
Oh shit.
On to the next one then.
No. I was going to. It was about the hazard bonus. If it's our version of it, the third version, what's the right sort of?
I don't really know the scales of all of them off by heart, but if it was always that, then I say 15 is too low because that would be pretty debilitating.
We don't want that though. That's the point.
Yeah, no, we want the spicier version, which would teeter more on fun than debilitating. And so, maybe 20% more, but 15 is still fine. I think,
15 or 20%.
I don't think people really care that much about the bonus on individual warnings. Like people don't I hate low oxygen, but the bonus pays out enough, so I'll do it. People just fuck low oxygen, and they don't think about the bonus it really gives. And I think high gravity in the funner way would be they don't really care about the bonus. They'll just like the variety in playing. Like you'll just exist, and then all of a sudden immense gravity, and then you'll exist again. Like it'll be pretty fun.
It's also maybe we need a warning like that. That's a little bit, it's not an anomaly, but it'll probably be the closest to one. Yeah,
and you could arguably you could make an argument for reduced movement speed for everything that enters the area, but that might be a bit.
It would make sense though, actually. To be fair, not that real world logic is necessary, but it would make sense. It would be much harder to move your body because you're being weighed down so much.
It's also if you're running at normal speed, you can't jump. That would feel kind of weird. But if you are incredibly, I know. But if you are
slowed down as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. But if in every regard in that area you are stunted, you can't move as quick, you can't jump as high. It's basically goo, right? You basically entered goo, which obviously I fucking hate goo. But if you're at least getting a bonus for it and it's a warning, you're prepared for it, then it is what it is, right?
So it's
and plus you could dash out of it or something and avoid it.
Areas of high gravity that have these effects, plus making things move slower. The 20% has a bonus. That sounds pretty good.
I think that would be a pretty fun, cool warning.
Fun and cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun and cool, want to meet the anomaly?
Fun and cool. It's like a fun and cool. Let's do it. Let's meet him.
A Funkle Pop.
Yeah.
Meet particle expansion. That looks like a caretaker.
It's like a caretaker that's really scared.
Alright, stay with me here. Anomalous energies in this area appear to be increasing the size of all explosions and radial effects. We have no explanation for this one, team. Just be careful. So, right, obviously, there's more like notes here than explanation. Like, sort of the definition of the anomaly is doubles all area of effect radiuses incurred by players or enemies. Right? Okay.
Right.
You know, immediately, if I were to throw some reasoning into the mix, it is meant to be an anomaly that is more hazardous, but it's obviously helping you. It's helping you in
Yeah.
obvious ways, but it can also hinder you, right? Combination of extremely fun and empowering, as in just massive explosions. That's fun
Yeah.
and cool. What? What's going on?
I don't know.
Huh? Anyway, as I was saying,
Yeah.
what I was reading was sort of the point that I'd already made, that it wouldn't necessarily average out to being a positive. Huh. Well, actually, that's the thing. I guess it kind of should. It shouldn't actually be. If someone to like lay it all out on paper, it shouldn't actually end up being more of a hazard than a benefit. But I still want it to feel extremely chaotic, right? You know, for example, Fat Boy radius being doubled, which would be, you know, include the fallout. But then everything about the detonator is also doubled. Which brings in the second point, when I sort of realised that it might be completely unbalanced and just utterly ridiculous on like the double. You don't quite, when it comes to radiuses, you don't, and diameters in like a spherical sense, you don't quite realise how much doubling it is. No, until you think about it, it's a lot. That's huge, and I think you might still get the effect. It would just be less ridiculous if it was something like 1.5 times size explosions. And final point would actually encourage trying different things out. I think there would actually be legitimate differences in builds that you would take, which is not alien to anomalies. You know, you get that with critical weakness and volatile guts, and it's obviously in that category. More so the volatile guts category, in the fact that you can be potentially quite savagely hindered by this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just picturing in my head. It just seems so chaotic and fun. It's just like, but my only question would be if you think it actually has a place. I just think the fun is so obvious. Like,
I think the issue is that anomalies are so hard to like do. Like anomalies are really
I know I'm pushing it, but that's sort of the point. This won't be this category of videos. Like I said, I'm not going to call it series. You're not going to get more than one of these in a row, basically. But it's like, if anomalies have to be just neutral and positive with no chance of like chaos or anything like this, then where's the fun in that, basically? My point is, I want to see something like this so that we know that they're willing to, in a way, go that extra mile and make something just kind of like something that is ridiculous, basically. Do you know what I mean? Or do you not sympathise with such a position?
Yeah. Right. Well, the thing is with this is that it's incredibly unbalanced to the point where it's a bit ridiculous. I think you state yourself, the 1.5 multiplier is more reasonable. And obviously it is a bit more balanced that they get it as well, but I don't know. It's definitely not where I expected you to take the anomaly.
Really?
I don't know. I thought there were going to be more. Well, at least not immediately. That this is where your mind was going to go straight away. But I don't know. I think it's when I saw particle expansion, I thought something else. But
I couldn't think of a name for it. It's based on
yeah.
It's actually based on a skull from Halo. Which is I don't know what it is, the multiplier is, but it's like it's just increased explosion radius. It's called cowbell. And I don't know about that name. That also imparted more movement physics, as in it sent things flying more. But you know, there's limit. It's what does that in Deep Rock is very limited, very deliberately limited to, like, you know, it's just a few. It's actually what moves dwarves is just a few enemy attacks and a few overclocks. So that wasn't going to be a part of it. But yeah, it's absolutely meant to be. It's meant to generate chaos in a way. It's meant to be a lot of fun, but in a way that is quite bizarre, quite out there. It's not meant to be an obvious boon, and I think that's anomalies are anomalies. I don't think they need to tie themselves down in any way. Basically, as long as it's not,
Yeah.
as long as the anomaly isn't literally just it's not just the definition of a warning, just labeled as an anomaly. I don't think this is that. And I also made the point that I would just like to see them do something like this to show that they can. I think something like this doesn't have to be this. Something to break down the barrier, basically.
Yeah, I think anomalies are due an interaction of any regard, just to show that they are capable of it, if anything.
Due an acknowledgement of their potential based on their name.
Yeah.
By just doing something really ridiculous.
Yeah.
And fun. And still, I don't know. I have confidence in this, knowing that it doesn't necessarily fit in with anomalies as they are in terms of the trends, but trends don't belong. It doesn't quite work that way.
Yeah.
So I just
With
decided to say fuck it.
the old trends don't work. Yeah, it needs to be new rules. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think this is a start, at least. Not heavily on this idea. I think this idea is pretty simple, and I think that works. But yeah, it's going to need quite a bit to break down the anomaly way, like
right. Yeah, I'll go further.
Yeah.
I'll go further. Either way, if you don't, well, yeah, exactly. Like I'm very acknowledging, if that's a word, of its sort of the position this is taking, sort of in my head, in that it was never really meant to fit in. So it's
yeah.
And on that note, we don't. Well,
yeah. Well, no, I kind of read the critical weakness bit, and it is something that sometimes they do just fucking just decide, you know what, be stronger, and that is, there's something they decide to do, and in critical weakness, that actually is
the point.
One way thing.
It's not directly that, is it? Yeah, it's not one way, but it's also not it's not two way. It's not like you're stronger and the bugs are stronger. It's explosions are bigger, and the results of that are just whatever they are. It's unbiased.
Yeah, maybe it should lean more on that it's kind of supposed to be just a chaos anomaly. In the
how would I lean on that?
Maybe, if anything, just because of the name. Just name. It's like particle expansion. Which
it sounds technical, doesn't it?
Yeah, just go for like I don't know, like improved detonation or like fucking chaos. The word chaos with a full stop, or just something like that. Maybe a reference
cowbell.
to.
Because
it's just a reference to something tends to work. There's probably
silly.
some expanded explosion area in fucking Borderlands 2 or something. You could always use one of them. But yeah, no, I think this is fine, if only because warnings are pretty simple. In the kind of know what a warning's supposed to do, but anomalies are very technically difficult as to their objective in the mission. But yeah, I mean, you'll definitely know that you're on a particle expansion anomaly mission, because anyone that uses Fat Boy is dooming your entire team to an instantaneous and painful death. So that works out.
It works out. It works out. Does it?
It works. It works out. I don't know. I think once again, I mean, maybe let's be realistic. The 1.5 is probably more likely, because it's still a pretty sizable bonus, right?
Well, that's what I said.
Like, you'll notice it basically everything.
Doubling a radius looks like, in practice, it's like it more so looks like you've quadrupled it. To be honest, in a way, it's like weird how much bigger that actually is than you think. 1.5 times is probably closer to what you'd expect if you have no understanding of physics, like a dumb idiot. Would expect 2 times to be. Anyway, I said my piece. You said your piece. Now get on your knees.
Let's wrap this up. All right. Yeah. Obviously, this is still a bit of a question mark series from now on, but I have something in the works, which I am now obliging, or not obliging, forcing myself to do because we're promising it here, as the text says. That now I have no choice, and I am a submissive beta bitch with no balls, as the text
Right. Well,
said.
okay. You didn't need to read that. But I
Yeah,
put it
well,
there,
if
and
it's
it's
still meant
true.
to be read, why? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's not really a spoiler. We normally know what's coming next. It's going to be a themes, like just a bunch of seasonal themes that I've come up with
God,
to
see, the
make
thing
a
is
point.
about that. All right, so obviously I do want to wrap this up because then it can actually be. I think. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how long we have until it's not the shortest workshop. But either way, and I have actually forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yeah,
That's
that one would be really long, right? How is that not going to be a ridiculously long
It's going to
video?
be a long one, so
I beg your pardon.
maybe it's going to be a long one, like hour and a half to 2 hours, if I do all of them. We'll
Some we
see.
might just throw in the bin immediately,
Yeah,
as
maybe.
in the video.
Yeah. So basically, look forward to that. And if you say that you are, then I have to do it. So I can't pussy out of it.
Oh my god, yeah,
But
Monkey is like. I'm really looking forward to.
yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And I'll get it done. It's definitely nothing that's now going to distract my mind from that project that
What are
occurred
you doing?
during this recording. So yeah, see you on the next video, which will
What
be.
the? What?
I
How
don't
did you
know.
cast that shadow?
I find it funny.
Okay. Right.
I've got to find
Either
something
way,
funny.
I think this is a good start.
Yeah,
I
no,
feel like
I didn't know where this was you were going immediately.
shit. Okay, so I just realised that I just changed the slide. Well, let's do that. All right. Well, we are at the end. So what I'm going to say is, thank you very much, you beautiful bastards. That's not actually what we say ever. Thanks for
Yeah.
watching. I hope you enjoyed. There'll
New
be more of
series.
these. Don't say that.
Press like and subscribe for more other YouTuber
No,
words.
it's rock and scryme.
Click rock and subscribe to Stone and like. Thanks for enjoying the content.
What the hell kind of outro is that?
I don't
Thanks
know.
for enjoying the content.
Look, Harry, shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
All right.
Shut up, Tyler.
Oh.
You meant to say shut down.